Hello and welcome dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the different schools of art. These are Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati. After the completion of this module, we will be able to know about the development of different schools of art. Learning outcome. This module will focus on different schools of art with the Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati. Their characteristic features will also be discussed at length. In this lecture, three significant regional art styles will be focused, that is Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati. The first two schools became the important hub of artistic development during the Kushana period, that's the late 1st century BCE to 3rd century AD. While as the Amravati school in Andhra Pradesh also created a unique artistic aesthetic. Dear students, first let's discuss about the Gandhara school of art. Gandhara is the name of an ancient area that is currently located in the sections of southeast Afghanistan and the northwest Pakistan. However, the cultural influence of Greater Gandhara spread across the Indus River to the Texla region in the Pothar Plateau, west into the Kabul Valley in Afghanistan and northwards up to the Karakoram range. Their area was centered around the Peshawar Valley and Swat River Valley. The school has a deep-rooted history of Hinduism mentioned in the Indian scripts and epics like Rigveda, Ramayana and Mahabharata. It was famous for its own art style, which was greatly influenced by classical Greek and the Hellenistic forms, and it flourished from the 1st to 5th century CE under the Kushana Empire, which had its capital in Peshawar. It thrived at the crossroads of India, Central Asia and the Middle East, establishing trading networks and absorbing cultural influences from other civilizations. It was also the center of Vedic and the later versions of Hinduism and was the home of Gandhari, the princess of Gandhara kingdom. Now dear students, let's discuss about the etymological derivation of the term Gandhara. Etymologically, one proposed origin of the name is from the Sanskrit word Gandha, which means perfume, and referring to the spices and the aromatic herbs which they traded and with which they anointed themselves. The Gandhari people are a tribe mentioned in the Rigveda, the Atharvaveda and the later Vedic texts. They are also recorded in the Avestian language of Zoroastrianism under the name of Avikarata. The name Gandhara also occurred later in the classical Sanskrit of the epics. A Persian form of the name Gandhar mentions in the Behishtan inscription of Empire Darius I was translated as Puru Para Asana, which means beyond the Hindu Kush. Between the 1st and the 5th century AD, this school of art flourished in what is now Afghanistan and northwestern India. However, it persisted in some areas of Afghanistan and Kashmir until the 7th century. Despite having its roots in the Indo-Bactrian era, its apex was reached in the first 2nd century AD. The majority of the sculptures at Gandhara are made of stones. At first, the sculptor employed green flite and blue cist. However, lime plaster, often known as stucco, was first employed in 1st century AD and had nearly totally supplanted stone by 3rd century AD. There are a number of reasons responsible for its replacement. One of the reasons stucco became so popular may have been because it was so affordable. However, another reason for the replacement of stone by stucco was the greater flexibility and independence it provided the artists. However, at the same time, we see that Northwest India was a cultural melting pot, with art traditions blending together. Thus, Gandhara art arose as a synthesis of styles, one of which being the Alexandrian Greco-Roman style. From here, Bronze and stucco sculpture traveled over West Asian trade routes, influencing Hellenistic and Indian artists. The Gandhara school's themes were Indian, but in style it was Greco-Roman. Gandhara art coincided at the same time with Buddhist doctrines which accommodated several divinities. These consequently became the ideal theme for sculpture and painting later on. As a result, depiction of Buddha and Bodhisattva were popular topics in this school of art, which is also known as Greco-Buddhist art. The main characteristics of the Greco-Roman influence are the facial features, curly or wavy hair, muscular body, and delicately defined folds and palettes of the robes. Standing image of Buddha are very common. Now, dear students, let's talk about the features of Gandhara school of art. Buddha's life-size statue were sculptured in this style of art. Up till that point, Buddhist existence was represented by the symbols like the lotus, the umbrella, etc. The symmetry of the body, including the muscles and the mustaches that were depicted in a natural context, were carefully carved into the statues. The folds and the turns of the clothing were displayed in the examples of this art's craftsmanship with meticulous attention to detail. The embellishments that were carved on the sculptures received a lot of attention in this art, which enhances the statue's outward beauty. A significant aspect of this craft is statue polishing. Terracotta, clay, and the stone were the main materials used to create the spicemans. The statues were created by using Greek techniques, but the concept, source of the inspiration, and personalities were all Indian. In addition to these, here are also seated Buddha image among these. These figures, gestures, or mudras included the Dharma Chakra mudra, or teaching posture, and the Dhyana mudra, or meditative posture. Some of the Buddha statue features a mustache. Surprisingly, Greek gods are depicted in this school of art bowing before the Buddha. Another intriguing and one-of-a-kind example of Gandhara art is the fasting Siddhartha, depiction of the emancipated Buddha. The depiction of fasting Siddhartha is one of the Gandhara school's most dramatic visual contributions to the Buddhist art. It shows Siddhartha before he attained enlightenment during a period of great austerity, which inspired him to advocate the middle path, also known as Astanga Marga, a route between lavish luxury and extreme abstinence. Buddhist sources states that during this time, Siddhartha only consumes 1 grain of rice per day. The sculptures and the relief of Gandhara also features a variety of regular commoners. They are depicted in a recognizable Greco-Roman manner. Besides, metal sculptures were also created by the Gandhara school. For example, a silver reliquary was discovered in a sizable demolished stupa at Shahji Ki Deri, which is close to Peshawar, the location of Kanishkapur, the capital of Kushana ruler Kanishka. Now, dear students, let's talk about the destruction of Buddhist statues at Bamiyan by Taliban. Swat Valley in Pakistan features various Buddhist carvings and the stupas, and Jahanabad boasts a statue of the seated Buddha. Many of these stupas and monuments in Swat Valley were demolished after 2 Taliban attempts, and the face of Buddha in Jahanabad was dynamited. The Taliban also attacked the Bamiyan Buddha images, which were larger than the sculptured gigantic Buddha statue in Swat near Mangalore. After the initial attempts to destroy the Buddha, which did not result in serious damage, the authority did little to protect the monument. However, when the statue was attacked again, the feet, the shoulders, and face were destroyed. The Taliban and the looters destroyed many Buddhist artifacts from the Buddhist Gandhara civilization in Pakistan, particularly in Swat Valley. According to some art historians, the Gandhara school underwent virtually little stylistic evolution over time. However, it's possible that these modifications actually occurred, but went undetected. Additionally, it has been noted that because of the variety of influences on the Gandhara art, it should not be viewed as having a uniform style, and that its analysis should take this into consideration. Now, dear students, let's talk about another school of art, which is Mathura school of art. During the Kushana era, Mathura also became a significant hub of artistic production. Being the southern capital of the Kushanas and the significant center for trade, crafts, and the religious activities and creative production, it was one of the famous towns of the northern India. Images created in this school were transferred to other towns like Kasambi, Achhatra, Sarnath, and even as far as east as Mahasthangarh, setting the standard for most of the artistic styles in the North India. Red sandstones from the Sikri quarry was used by this school of sculptors. The Gandhara and the Mathura school of art shared some artistic traits and differed in others. Iconographically, the sculptures are similar, but Mathura school's aesthetic is distinct because it is entirely Indian and bears no signs of outside influence. In fact, it can be considered as advancing the Bisnagar, Sanchi, and Barhat sculptural traditions. Additionally, the artisans of the Mathura were particularly adept at creating freestanding sculptures. Yakshas, Yakshis, Nagas, Nagis, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Jain Tirthankaras, and Hindu deities are only a few of the many subjects covered by the Mathura school of art. The seated Buddha image from the Mathura school has the following characteristics. He has a coiled Ushnisha, which means a crown that resembles a seashell, and his head is either shaved or covered in curly hairs. One end of his translucent dhoti is slung across his chest and the left shoulder. A hollow surrounds his head, and a carving of the peepal tree is visible above it. Either two tiny bodhisattvas or Indra and Brahma stands on either side of him. It is important to point out that despite clear aesthetic distinction across various schools of art, a most consistently narrative of Buddha's appearance appears to have been in use. A large Buddha statue discovered at Sarnath is said to be representative of the Mathura style. Additionally, there are different representations of the Bodhisattvas, which includes Mitriya, Virjapani, and Alkoteshvara. Narratives from the Buddha's life were also produced by the Mathura school. Besides, numerous Jain images created by the Mathura school were also discovered at Kankanitila. One of these is a piece of a pillar with carvings of 4 Tirthankaras standing on its sides. A broken-headed picture of a seated Tirthankara is also present. The images of the Tirthankara and Buddha share some similarities. Both sets has long earlobes, and some of them have the fortunate Uran marks between their brows in common. Their nudity, the insignia of their chest, and their posture, gestures, and other characteristics are what set them apart. In the 1st century AD, the Mathura school also creates the iconographic characteristics of the pictures of Hindu deities alongside Buddhist and the Jain depictions. In Mathura, stone statues of Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Durga, and Lakshmi have been found. West Asian influences can be seen in a seated Surya picture from Kankanitila, including his robe, footwear, moustaches, and the ringed crown. Shiva depiction of the god takes the shape of Mukhalingas and Virgalingas, as well as anthropomorphic or in an iconic forms. A Shiva Linga is depicted under a tree, encircled by a railing and being worshipped by the winged creatures in an architectural fragments discovered in Bhuteshwara near Mathura. Other early representations of the Shiva from this region depicts him either by himself with the Nandi bull or alternatively with Parvati. Additionally, Shiva is shown in a variety of ways, including Chotraviha Shiva, which means Shiva with his three emanations, Ardhanari Shiva, which means the god who is half women, and Harihara, which means a combination of Vishnu and Shiva. While turning to Vaishnava image, the number and diversity of images made in the Mathura region during this time have greatly increased. Actually, the most significant hub of Vaishnava art was Mathura. Vasudeva Krishna and the Vishnu each have numerous independent representations, which includes 4 armored riding Garudas and taking the form of a boar. In addition to this, Vasudeva Krishna has kinship traits with his brother Balhadeva and their sister Ikanamisha. In the late Kushana era, the concept of the Chotravivaha, the 4 emanation of Vishnu, started to take shape. A massive Narayana statue discovered in Mathura is deserving of special mention. In the Mathura school, goddesses have a significant role in the Hindu pantheon. There are pictures of Lakshmi and Durga in addition to unnamed female deities, which includes Mitrika and Yakshis. A stunning image known as Sri Lakshmi, which stands on the 2 lotus buds that emerged from a jar of plenty, is one of the prominent figures. Besides of it, Mathura was also a center for superb terracotta between 200 BC and 300 AD. So these works of art features a wide range of ornamental elements. The sculptures of Kushana is another intriguing aspect of Mathura art. The shrine at Math, which is located 9 miles north of Mathura, is their most remarkable structure. The Kushana ruled over Mathura for at least 100 years, if not more. Here enormous royal representations abound, with Vimakarpasa's Kanishka and Havishka being the 3 rulers portrayed. It is uncertain whether these enormous portrait sculptures served a political purpose or were an attempt at royal deification. Now, dear students, let's talk about the silent features of Mathura School of Art. Buddha image. Before the establishment of this school, Buddha was never depicted in human form in any of Sanchi, Barut or Gaya. Themes. To depict Buddha, just symbols such as 2 footprints or a wheel were utilized. Mathura artists first continued to depict the symbols, but over time the human image of Buddha gradually evolved as a new school of art. This depiction of human Buddha was based on the Yaksha representations. The Buddha and Bodhisattva are shown in early art as chubby, happy, non-spiritual being. They were blocky and wear a silky, form-fitting robe that is almost entirely wrinkle-free. Patrons. The gigantic standing Buddha representation from the early Kushana period are strikingly similar to the Mathura statues, which are related to early Yaksha figures. Sculptural characteristics. Both of them and the more conventional seated Buddhas have a powerful oral effect. The legs are planted firmly with feet spaced apart, the shoulders are broad and the chest is enlarged. With increased roundness, images became more sensual and flashy in 2nd century AD. The extreme flashiness had lessened by 3rd century AD and the features on the outside have become more refined. The shaved head, the protuberance on the top of the head denoted by a tired spiral, a round smile, the right arm raised in the Abhaya Mudra, which means assurance gesture, and the left arm resting on the thigh, the drapery loosely draping the body and arranged in folds over the left arm, leaving the right shoulder bare, and the presence of lying throne rather than the lotus throne. Buddha's halo had numerous decorations all around it. The Bodhisattva and Buddha standing and the seated positions were engraved by the Mathura school. The two standing Buddhas at Shravasti Sarnath and Kasambi are the outstanding examples of Buddha statues made in this style. The later development of Buddha's human form was associated with heroic ideals and the human beauty. This school's construction used spotted red sandstones, a type of sandstone. Although there are also images of the Vaishnava and the Shiva religions in Mathura, Buddhist images predominated. Woman's place in Mathura's art. The woman was the focal point of the painting, and few pieces of the Indian art can compare to this exquisite feminine figures crafted by Mathura artists in terms of beauty, delicacy, and appeal. The Mathura school of art had a significant impact on many following artistic movements. In Indian art history, Mathura represents a key turning point. Here it is easy to discern the transition from symbolism to the iconographic form that were later accepted. Furthermore, Mathura was the first location where the Brahmanical deities forms crystallized. The Buddha picture from the Mathura school spread throughout Central Asia and all over India. Now, dear students, let's talk about another school of art, which is Amravati School of Art. Amravati, a significant Buddhist site in the Andhra area, is related to ancient Dhanyakataka, a significant Deccan metropole that serves the capital of Satavahanas. It experienced a thriving artistic community in the 1st century of the Christian era. In this school of art, both the stones and the styles of above mentioned schools of art changed, and the local material was incorporated. The Amravati stupas, dome, railings, and the gates are lavishly decorated with lovely relief sculptures. When compared to Nagarjuna Kunda, where the finest portion was completely plain and uninscribed. Since the relief panels are less sculptured and the figures are more naturally curvaceous, the sculptural style at Amravati is more developed than that of the central Indian sites of Sanchi and Barahat. While these locations provide the earliest sculptures depicting significant moments in the Buddha's life and from the Jataka stories, the majority of Jataka scenes at Barahat and Amravati shares the traits of being labeled, which is very helpful in recognizing the sculptures. Numerous Chaitiyas are mentioned in the Buddhist Mahaparinibbana Sutra as being located in Vaishali. Two intergraving incomplete columns from Amravati should be mentioned in this context. A carving of a tree encircled by a railing on one of them bears a Brahmi inscription from the 2nd century BC that claims it to be a representation of the Bahuputa Chaitya. The second depicts a tree being worshipped and the footprints of the Buddha. The inscription below identifies this as the Chapala Chaitya. Dear students, let's now talk about the different features of Amravati School of Art. The material utilized in Amravati School of Art, primarily in the stupa, is a distinctive white marble. Narrative art is a distinguishing feature of the Amravati School of Art. Religious as well as secular imagery were present in this school of art. Buddha and his life events were largely represented by symbolic figures in the Amravati School of Art, while at 2-3 places Buddha is also displayed personified. The sculpture figures in the Amravati School of Art are filled with tremendous emotion. Figures seen here are slim, have a lot of movement, and frequently have 3 bends, that is Tribhanga. The sculptural composition at Amravati School of Art are more complicated than that of Sanchi. Sculpture is designed to appear flexible rather than linear. The dynamic motions displayed generated a feeling of 3D space and disrupts the immobility of shapes. Pronounced volumes, angular bodies, and complex overlapping in the relief sculptures created 3-dimensional space. Now dear students, let's talk about the Buddha in the early stupa sculptures. It is significant to note that early stupa lacks an image of the Buddha. Instead, symbols such as the wheel to represent his persimmon, a tree to represent his enlightenment, a horse to represent his renunciation, or a stupa to represent his death and nirvana are used to denote the Buddha's presence. When the image became entrenched as a component of worship, it adapted regional aesthetics as shown in the Buddha portrait statues from Mathura, Gandhara and Amravati. An examination of the Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati schools of art from the 1st century AD reveals that sculptural decoration transcends sectarian and religious barriers. Although religious sculptures predominated among the pieces still in existence, there are a few secular sculptures as well. It's crucial to recognize the intricate beauty and more profoundly spiritual symbolic elements of the Indian artistic innovations which captured the era's vibrant culture. Dear student, that was all about today's lecture regarding the different schools of art. Hope you have understood it well. We shall meet again with a new topic. Till then, take care and goodbye.